Matthew Atkinson, the actor known for his role as Thomas Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful, has finally broken his silence after months away from the spotlight, and he did it with a bang. In a heartwarming but equally shocking revelation, Atkinson shared on his personal social media account that his family has just welcomed a pair of twin babies. This revelation wasn't just a personal update, it dropped like a bombshell in The Bold and the Beautiful fan community, especially because Atkinson had been noticeably absent from the show for an extended period, sparking all sorts of speculation about his future with the soap. Now, it all makes sense. He stepped away from the camera not due to contract issues or storyline breaks, but to be fully present with his new family. What caught everyone off guard even more was the photo that followed, Atkinson in a hospital room, beaming with happiness as he cradled his newborn twins in both arms. The caption was simple, but the image said it all: pure joy, raw emotion, and a sense of peace that fans rarely get to see from the man who plays one of the show's most complicated characters. But the story didn't stop there. An unexpected leaked photo turned the fan base upside down again. This time, it showed Matthew Atkinson on The Bold and the Beautiful set not alone, but with the two babies. That's right, the twins had made it to the soundstage, bundled up and cradled by crew members, surrounded by lighting rigs and production assistants. That image all but confirmed what many had hoped: Thomas Forrester is returning. The character, who's had a roller coaster of a storyline packed with obsession, redemption, and emotional upheaval, is poised to re-enter the picture. But what no one anticipated was that Thomas wouldn't be coming back alone. He's returning with Paris Buckingham and the twins. And here's the real kicker: the twins aren't just behind-the-scenes babies. They're part of the show. Yes, the same infants that Matthew Atkinson welcomed in real life are now reportedly being woven into The Bold and the Beautiful storyline. The writers have taken his real-life circumstances and flipped them into a jaw-dropping twist for the series. According to circulating reports and now heavily believed rumors, Thomas will return to Los Angeles with Paris by his side and their twin children. This development changes everything. Not only does it suggest that Thomas and Paris have been living a full life off-screen, but it retroactively redefines months of storyline silence. Were they secretly building a family overseas? Did Thomas and Paris elope or settle down away from the drama of the Forresters and Logans? Whatever the case, their return marks a seismic shift in the B/and B universe. The decision to integrate the twins into the narrative is bold, risky, and frankly genius. It serves both storytelling and behind-the-scenes convenience. Matthew Atkinson doesn't have to choose between his personal life and professional commitments. He can bring both together. But dramatically, it opens up 1,000 questions. What role will these children play in Thomas's future? Will they soften his edge, anchor him into a more grounded version of himself? Or will fatherhood only make him more determined to claim a rightful spot in the Forrester legacy? Paris's return alongside Thomas is equally loaded with tension. The last time we saw her, she was caught in the emotional crossfire between Carter and Zend, her feelings swinging like a pendulum. Her sudden departure was left vague, no real closure, no finality. Now, with this surprise re-entry and twin babies in tow, the show is clearly setting up a reintroduction with major consequences. How will Zend react? Will Carter feel betrayed? And what about Grace Buckingham, Paris's mother, who never held back her opinions on her daughter's romantic choices? There's also Hope Logan to consider. Thomas's obsession with her has been one of the longest-running, most polarizing arcs on the show. From the mannequin debacle to his moments of redemption, Hope and Thomas have always shared a complicated bond, one that hovered between genuine affection and manipulation. When Thomas disappeared from the canvas, Hope was just beginning to draw hard lines, carving out a new path that didn't include his shadow. Now, Thomas is returning as a father of twins, seemingly in a committed relationship with Paris. Will this new Thomas be more stable? Or will old habits creep back in? What's more, The presence of children in AB/and B storyline often signals legacy moves. The Forrester family has always been driven by lineage, bloodlines, and generational power. If Thomas has 2 children, they are direct heirs. Their existence adds pressure to Ridge, Eric, and even Steffi in terms of the family business and future leadership. Could we see the beginnings of the next generation being laid now? Could these babies become the future faces of Forrester Creations, just as the show once shifted from Stephanie and Eric to Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor's kids? The logistical side of using Matthew Atkinson's real-life twins as part of the story isn't just a narrative choice, it's a symbolic one. It blurs the line between actor and character, between fiction and reality, giving the storyline an emotional weight rarely seen in daytime dramas. Fans have already begun speculating about how the show will handle the introduction. Will we get flashbacks to Thomas and Paris's off-screen romance? A secret wedding? Or a dramatic explanation tying their absence to some extended overseas mission, perhaps involving a Forrester International fashion house? Whatever direction the writers take, this shift marks a major turning point. The show is setting up for something long-term, not a temporary arc. Thomas is no longer just a troubled designer with unresolved trauma. He's a father, a partner, and potentially a power player once again in the Forrester dynasty. And Paris, often sidelined or tossed between love interests, now has a stable and prominent narrative footing as the mother of Thomas's children. The power dynamics just shifted, and the other characters will have to adjust accordingly. With this revelation, it's clear that the bold and the beautiful isn't playing it safe. Instead of writing around Matthew Atkinson's real-life circumstances, they've leaned into them with full creative force. This return isn't just about bringing back a fan favorite, it's about reshaping the canvas. The twins, though infants, symbolize a bold direction, new blood, new stakes, new complications. The shock of seeing Atkinson on set with his real babies might have started as a sweet surprise, but it's now a storyline juggernaut. Fans are already speculating. Will we see scenes of Thomas feeding his kids in the Forrester mansion? Will there be a custody battle? Could this ignite another round of rivalry with Hope, who once shared such an intense connection with Thomas's son Douglas? Will Liam or Steffi weigh in on Thomas's choices, especially if the kids become central to a business or family feud? What's clear is that the bold and the beautiful has weaponized real life to its advantage. They've turned a paternity leave into a full-blown reboot for one of its most dynamic characters. And in doing so, they've elevated Paris, added 2 literal new faces to the cast, and reignited interest in storylines that had started to lose steam. This isn't just another arc. It's a transformation. The next chapters of The Bold and the Beautiful are being written not just by scriptwriters, but by life itself, and fans are here for every twist. As Thomas steps back into the frame, holding one twin in each arm, flanked by Paris, the message is clear. The past is behind him. But the drama? That's only just beginning. Paris is glowing in leaked behind-the-scenes photos. Her arms are wrapped around her 2 little angels. Her smile can't hide the happiness of a woman who has just become a mother and soon to be a wife. After many ups and downs, Paris Buckingham is finally in a position that many thought she would never reach, the mother of Thomas Forrester's child and the woman preparing to marry him. According to insiders, Thomas officially proposed to Paris on a quiet evening, no noise, no typical Forrester tricks, just a promise from a man who has changed, and a woman who believes that love can conquer all. And now, the wedding is being planned. Eric Forrester has officially given permission to use the mansion for the ceremony. The first wedding dresses, designed by Zend, have appeared on the drafting table of Forrester Creations. Carter, now a close friend of both, will officiate. It will be a grand wedding, not only to confirm Paris and Thomas's relationship, but also to pave the way for them to return to the center of the Forrester, Logan, Spencer story. However, things will not be as easy as they think. Hope Logan has heard about Thomas's return. Although she tries to act fine, Everyone can see something wavering in her eyes. Hope has had her moments of weakness when she almost left Liam for Thomas, especially when she believed he had changed. And it was in those moments that real feelings bloomed. No longer manipulation, no longer blindness from Thomas, but something real and dangerous, excitement. Now, with Thomas back, no longer a lonely man, but a father, a husband-to-be, and a powerful central figure, can Hope stay out of it? Can she bear to see the man who once loved her, who fought for her, now happy in the arms of another? The first signs of instability began to appear. Hope kept having moments of contemplation when she saw Thomas's fashion drawings. She hesitated when Paris came to the company with 2 children. Although Hope smiled, her eyes quietly examined Thomas's every gesture, every touch between him and Paris. She began to wonder if everything between her and Thomas that day had not ended abruptly, would she be the one standing next to him now? And then, what had to happen happened. On a rainy night, when everyone had left the company, Hope walked into Thomas's office. He was drawing a new, inspired design. Hope stood there, silently looking at him, then blurted out, "Are you really happy, Thomas?" The question was not to congratulate, but to search for a remaining piece of emotion. Thomas looked at her, his eyes no longer confused, but not cold. "I waited for you. I don't anymore." The words were not just affirmations, but boundaries. But Hope didn't leave. She moved closer, her hand resting lightly on the design on the table, the wedding dress Paris would wear. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "But it's not for me." The wedding day was approaching, but the atmosphere at Forrester Creations was starting to get heavy. Liam realized that Hope was in an emotional tailspin. He began to doubt, not Thomas's feelings, but the stability of the marriage he was trying to maintain. Brooke, who had always been suspicious of Thomas, began to criticize Paris, thinking that she was taking the place that Hope should have. Even Steffi sensed the tension rising, and she couldn't help but wonder, if Hope broke everything, would Thomas still be able to maintain the change he had once claimed? Paris, meanwhile, sensed the change. Though Thomas was still attentive and devoted to her and the children, she couldn't help but notice that his eyes were sometimes lost, as if searching for something he had lost. And that worried her. She knew that the past between Thomas and Hope had never really ended. She knew that love, if it existed, would not be easily replaced by stability or responsibility. And then, the day before the wedding, everything almost fell apart. Hope approached Thomas, this time without a hesitant look or vague words. She admitted that she had been wrong to leave him, that deep inside her there was always a Thomas who had never disappeared. Paris caught her. She stood outside the room, listening to every word, each one stabbing like a knife. Instead of getting angry, Paris walked away. She went home, hugged the children, and began writing a letter. The next morning, when Thomas woke up, he didn't find her there. On the table was a handwritten note. "I don't want to marry someone whose heart is still with someone else. I love you, but I don't accept second place. If you really change, keep your promise to yourself, not to me. The wedding is cancelled." Thomas is once again caught between 2 women. One who gave him a family, the other who still holds his heart. But this time, Thomas doesn't let himself get sidetracked. He doesn't choose quickly. He grabs his 2 children and leaves Los Angeles for a short time, not to escape, but to clear his mind. The story isn't over. Paris, though heartbroken, is resilient. Hope, though aware of her feelings, also understands that sometimes love isn't always the right time. And Thomas, a man who has been through so much, will eventually have to choose a path that is not only for his heart, but also for the responsibility and future of all 3, him and the 2 children he brought into this world. The Forrester door is still open. But this time, not just to welcome love, but to face the truth, the choices, and the price of true happiness.
Oh.